was like, I'm going to have a good day. I took a vitamin D, and I made myself do something, and I felt so much better later in the day.
That's so funny you say that. You know what I've been doing for work, because I don't work with my best friends anymore? Mm-hmm. I wake up and I give myself like the first 15 minutes to be really, 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 really mad about having to get up and go to work. I'm like, you're allowed to have feelings, but as long as you don't do it for longer than 15 minutes, and after that 15 minutes is over, you have to literally pretend to be positive. And I do this thing.
Yeah, it's the pretending. I feel like delusional, but I'm doing it anyway.
I put my clothes on and I'm like, I'm so happy that I have a 9 to 3. I only focus on the good things. I'm like, I have a 9 to 3. I don't have to sit the register.
Feels good. And I was telling you to write down your gratitude. So, is this volume good, bro?
You know what I tell myself? I sit there angrily in bed, and I tell myself this is what makes me get up. And I don't even switch it to positive as of lately. I say, I have to pay Kinsey and Colin and Mariah back. I have to get up and go to work.
I fight myself. I told you how every morning when I go to the gym, I yell at myself. I got out of bed, I get ready, I'm like, oh, I have to go to the gym. I'm so mad. And it's like I'm boxing with myself, and then I finally go to the gym, and I'm like, dang, this is so nice. And then I leave the gym. Mm-hmm.
Like, you have the 5 daydreams about calling off from work or not going to the gym, but then, like, you're like, I can't sleep today, I can't afford it.
I'm, like, viscerally mad every morning when I have to get up and be productive, but I do it.
Mariah can be fine, but Kaylin's shame is not going to help you.
Yeah.
Like,
well, no, it's not your shame. It's like you can't afford to call off. That's what it is.
That's shame.
I'm like reality.
That's shame, girly.
That's not shame.
Yes, it is. I showed Mariah this TikTok.
I feel like I'm being drugged to work
about
by my financial commitments. That's what I feel.
Listen though, let me tell you why it's bad. I showed Mariah.
When you're making attachments where that work only
shut
equals
the fuck up. I told Mariah, and I showed her this TikTok that it was like people with ADHD have a tendency to shame themselves to get things done. And they'll say it in ways that don't sound like shame, but it feels like it. Mm-hmm. And that's why it doesn't translate to your off days. Why does that same technique not work on your off days?
Yeah, and
because it's not a real deadline. It's one you made up, right? But you know what a real deadline is? Paying Mariah back, paying Kinsey back. You have no choice, so you shame yourself into doing it, Kaylin. But on those off days, if you try to do the same thing to yourself, it's not going to work.
Yeah, I think you were telling me how, like, if you go to the gym, you get a coach, like, you feel like you have to show up for the coach. And I was like, that's smart. I do that all the time, and then I feel guilty when I don't do it. You're like, no. You're like, you were good in the first half. Yeah. It made sense. Someone was holding you accountable.
So, like,
there's between accountability and making yourself feel like a piece of shit.
Mm-hmm. Kaylin, are you listening?
Mm-hmm. You said that it is a shaming thing because you feel like guilty for not paying that person back, so you're shaming yourself to go do that.
Yeah, and then what does it translate to on your day off?
I didn't listen to that.
I was talking about that there's a difference between holding yourself accountable versus shaming yourself. So if I say, like, for instance, when I'd be like, Kaylin, I'm showing up at your house every day to wake you up at 10 o'clock, and I was doing that, and you felt like you had to get out of bed because you knew I was showing up. It's one thing to be like, I'm holding myself accountable.
No, I felt scared. Versus some boogeyman shit coming
together. That's shame. You're like, I feel bad because if Mariah shows up and I'm in bed, I'm disappointed.
And guess what? That's not commitment.
No. Guess what? And that shame technique doesn't work on a day off for you. So when
the days where I don't show up because I work, you're not getting yourself out of bed because you're not feeling shameful.
Yeah, Kaylin. Because that's
so you need to turn it into a positive thing. Like
you have to turn it into a positive thing because it's going to be the only thing that gets you up out of your bed when nobody else is making you do something, aka paying them back or having.
You're right. I've had moments. That's the thing is like I've had moments in my life where I felt like that, where I'm getting up and feeling so happy about me. I had it junior year during COVID when I forced myself to stay positive. Yeah, so it was like 2021.
Let's make our New Year's resolution right now that we're going to be delusional in 2023.
Something trips up and I'm like, I just ruined my perfect life. And
Wrong.
I'll wait till it gets perfect again to try it again.
Who can make it perfect, though?
That's the shaming technique.
You. Only you. Wrong.
But what I was saying, though, is that I've been literally forcing myself to stay positive while going to work. I've been like, people have it worse. There's people in, like, countries that don't get the opportunities that I have to even work towards being an illustrator. They don't get the opportunity.
I've heard that was kind of toxic to compare yourself from, like, other lower places. Not toxic, but I heard it was bad. I heard, like, how people are like, people have it worse. People
no. See, because there's a difference between
you're saying
completely...
a different term.
Yeah, there's a difference between completely, like, brushing off your emotions and never feeling them. And there's a difference between just being grateful. And for me...
I got you.
That's something, like, I'm like, wow,
You're
I
saying
should be grateful for it.
Yeah.
I should be very grateful that I have this opportunity, that I have an iPad, I have a new Sketchbook Pro to draw on. Like, it's okay if I'm not exactly where I need to be because I have the opportunity to try. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And some people don't get that opportunity. But
we're just going to stay delusional for the rest of the year, guys. 2023, we are delusional. And we will only talk highly about crazy things that we can do.
Exactly.
I mean, Kaylin sent me that TikTok that was like, that girl was like, I used to joke and say I was attractive, and then one day I was just like, holy shit, I am attractive.
Listen, I go into this cycle of like if I feel like shit about myself.
What the fuck are you doing over there? Writing stuff down and then folding it and then hiding secrets in your card.
No, they're bad drawings. That's what they are.
Let me see them.
Listen, if I feel bad about myself, I use that same technique, Maya, where I like basically pretend that I'm hot.
This is the eagle that's on the quarter. Sorry.
I said I basically pretend that I'm hot, and I lie to myself, and magically I wake up one day and I feel hot, and then I go through a hot cycle, right? I feel so good about myself, but then somebody else or something in media makes me feel bad about myself because I need to have more armor and I'm too sensitive.
When I'm like my hot girl self, I feel like I'm not me. Like it's like almost like an alternate identity.
It's like Kinsey that I don't like. Gremlin Kinsey.
I feel like when you're not hot.
Yeah.
Oh no, like this right now, what I'm looking like right now, this is Mariah. But like yesterday was not Mariah. That was like a drag queen.
Oh yeah, when I'm hot, I literally feel like optimal, like prime ass Kinsey.
Optimus Prime.
Shut up, Optimus Prime Kinsey.
Yeah, like that was not me yesterday, so I don't feel like. Not that I think of this because like I'm not used to that.
It's a version of
Think
me.
about your fun facts too, by the way, if you haven't.
I hope they heard that.
I went on my Sonic game and all my chows were evolved, and I told you this. I feel like I didn't save it or turn it off.
That could be your fun fact.
I just closed the game, or I just turned the TV off because I'm lazy. I would. It's a lengthy fun fact though, so I don't want to. It's a lot.
Mine'll be simple today. I'm breaking it up between funny ones and
I just say whatever comes to my mind.
I just fucking come up with one. I don't have a pattern.
I don't. I just come up. That's why I never
Live, laugh,
know.
love.
That's why I never have an answer when you guys are like, and then there's like 8 minutes of silence because I'm trying to figure out my fun fact.
You're listening to Post Credit Depression, where we discuss this week's current hyperfixation. Oh shit, it's my name, huh? I always forget you say your name or you say your name. My name's Kinsey, and my fun fact this week is that my favorite Barbie movie is The Nutcracker, the old ass ones.
I'm Kaylin, and my fun fact is my favorite color is pink.
Oh my god, that went together.
My name's Mariah, and my fun fact is that I now own 7 frog squishmallows.
Hoarder.
I don't care.
I'm kidding.
At least I'm not
Didn't you
reselling
shame
them.
me last podcast for collecting squishmallows?
No, you shamed me.
No, you shamed me
said,
first.
I
You shamed
the
me
Barbies, and then you were like, "Okay, Miss Sleep
yeah.
the Teddy Bear has all those brats, has
That's
all
right,
those squishmallows,"
right.
and I was like, my soul was leaving my body.
We're not in last episode. We're in this episode. Let's keep.
God.
Alright, well,
It's
just cut
333.
that out, dog.
It's 333. Okay,
Oh my
yeah,
god,
let's start with
that
this.
had to
333.
happen. Anyways.
It's 333. That's crazy.
Anyway, so I was playing Sonic Adventure Battle 2, and I'm extremely lazy because I don't know where the remote is for the TV downstairs right now, so I always just turn it off on the back of the TV. I also don't feel like saving the game, close out the game. I'm going to play it as soon as I wake up or some point the next day. So I usually just pause the game wherever I'm at or right before the next match starts or the next level, and I turn the TV off. But this time I was in the Chow Garden and I didn't pause the game. So I wake up the next morning and I'm like laying in bed on my phone. I'm like, did I pause the game last night? And I run downstairs and all of them are evolved. All except for one that I left in school. They're all evolved. They have no just stamina, no powers, nothing. They're just like babies, but
Can I
like
see a photo of these chows?
stamina. Yeah, and I was just like upset because that was just precious time wasted. And I like watching them evolve because they go in this little dome, the music plays, it changes all different, and they come out looking different.
You know what I like? I like Viva Pinata, where the pinatas breed in the game.
I like Dragon.
Anyway, so they were all evolved, and I have the hero town, or the hero portal unlocked.
Oh, they're so cute.
Huh?
I like that angry one.
I showed you last week, girl. I unlocked the, like, hero world, or heaven. Haven't unlocked hell yet, which is the villain's
There's
world.
breeding in chows, too.
And there is...
Oh.
I haven't gotten to that part yet, because I would like to... I'm still focusing on unlocking the dark world, because I want to have every access.
I like the word
lands.
breed. It's pretty, like, aggressive.
So... Kayla's on a different level today.
Chows are breed. I'm sorry.
Of interrupting?
No, just rethink the commentary. So I currently have a neutral.
That's Kinsey and Mariah.
I have a neutral. Yeah, depending on the day. Sometimes Kaylin's dark, or Kinsey's dark. Sometimes I'm dark. Sometimes Kinsey's the. Let me
Angel.
reword that. Sometimes Kinsey's like an evil chow. Sometimes I'm the evil one. Sometimes
There
I'm
you
the
go.
hero one. Sometimes
Sorry,
she's the
I was
hero
just
one.
reacting to the images I was seeing. Continue.
It's okay. But yeah, so now I have a bunch of chows that are extremely evolved for no reason because they aren't good at anything. Their skill levels are 0.
Are they
One
like
of them,
Pokemon? Like, what do you do with the chows?
literally, you just take care of them. I come and I pet them. I play his tails because I like flying, and he flies, and he'll be like, "Hey there, little buddy," and you pet them, you feed them, You take them to school. You give them names.
Wait, so they don't help you in the game?
No, they are just like a little side part of the game. Like while you're playing the game.
So why does it matter if he has any skills?
Why does it matter if you have cats, Kinsey?
So when you're because it's just a fun little thing. It's like a side game. When you're playing the game, as I'm playing with Sonic, I break the box. I get a key. I break another box. I get elements to help evolve my chows. And then when you in between levels, as long as you have the key, you go to the world. You take care of them. Listen, it's just a cute little part of the game.
That's okay. It reminds me of Wizard 101. Like you could have a pet in Wizard 101, and like they would do like. Well, this doesn't happen for your game. They would do like one small thing while you were fighting, but they really weren't that great. But when you went to the pet area, like it was a whole arch and you go under it and there's like tons of games you can play with them. You level them up. They have their own individual skills. You can feed them. They don't have school over there. They just got games. But the games are meant to level them up.
Yeah, I mean, I just drop them off at school, and then when I take them back to the garden, they learn those new skills. So if I take them to school and they're singing, I'll be in the garden, like, feeding them, and one bitch will be, like, singing in the corner. They'll be like, la, la, la. La, la, la. And my one has, like, drawing ability, so that night where I didn't save or pause the game, I woke up and they were just, like, drawings all over the ground, because the game was actively playing while I was like, gosh, dang it.
That's funny.
Yeah. But.
So, Kaylin, what will you be showing us this week?
So, before I dive in, if you saw the title to the episode, The Rescuers Down Under, that is what we're watching, I wanted to talk about an organization I'm really passionate about. While we're talking about endangered animals...
Not sponsored.
Not...
Sorry?
It's just a charity I'm really passionate about because it's movies about endangered animals. Obviously, it's full of, like, you know, Australian wildlife, poachers, whatever. While we were at Lightbox, I met this really cool artist who had a bird. Like, it looked just like the fucking eagle from the movie The Majestic.
Just like it. 100 feet and everything.
Listen, he had it this close to my face. I could see all of the details, and this movie does so good at, like, getting the anatomical details, which we'll talk about later. But this bird was so beautiful that he had. Bird of prey. His name was Manu Carrasco, and he talked about, like, how passionate he was about saving animals, conservationship. He went on to talk about his organization he's a part of, alongside, like, Aaron Blaise, Kim Jong-ji, rest in peace, like, the legend, Peter Han, lots of really cool artists. It's, like, over 100 artists, I want to say. I could be wrong on that number, but Expedition Art is a team of artists who have joined together to raise awareness about wildlife and nature conservation. On their website, expeditionart.org, they have a book called In Danger. On the cover, Kim Jong-ji, excuse me for mispronouncing that, whichever one it is. He did the cover on it. It's a beautiful cover. I bought the book. Right now I think it's on sale for like $35. All the proceeds go to a nonprofit organization that directly affects wildlife. And even Manu said that he's worked with those people before. He's rescued animals alongside these people that the money goes towards. So if you want to help some animals out and also buy some cool art, I really like that book. And I just wanted to plug that in before we talk about this episode about animals. What did you think of Peter Han and the fact that, like, he, you know, first of all, he's an amazing artist, like, alone, but, like, he also goes out to Africa and hangs out with animals and draws them and is passionate about it.
The question was, what do I think about him?
Like being such an animal nerd, too.
I think it's cool. Well, I don't want to say cool. I think Peter Han is literally amazing. And it's crazy because I followed this man on Instagram and I didn't even know. But I've seen his work and I see it a lot. He's very similar to Kim Jong-ji, though, so I thought it was some of Kim Jong-ji's work, but it was not. And I'd just be scrolling, so I'd sit there not paying attention, right? So to meet him and get to see what kind of person he was so down to earth. He was so intriguing, like what he spoke about, what he was interested in. He doesn't just draw animals, but he really highly incorporates them in his work. Like, there's almost always an animal in his drawings, or like he does like animal humanoids, you know?
Yeah,
and I think it's so fucking cool. On
the memorial they had at Lightbox for Kim Jong-ji, he drew like this tiger humanoid character. It was so detailed, it was so cool. Yeah, Manu, he did like a tiger on there too. I wonder if like that was one of his favorite animals and why they both picked tigers.
Kim Jong-ji?
Yeah.
That's so crazy. Tigers are my favorite animals.
Yeah.
Real ones.
It was so cool because, like, they go out there and straight up hang out with lions and watch them hunt and, like,
I know,
it's crazy.
I won't get into the details of this story, but he told a really cool story about lions and, like, hanging out with them at night. And, like, just the way this man speaks and tells his own experiences and stories, like, the man threw 30 years worth of experience at my face, in a good way, in the panel that I went to where he talked, and I feel like he said so many things I needed to hear as a young artist.
These people reminded me of like
so
Steve
eloquent.
Irwin artists. Like, they're so passionate about animals and so passionate about what they are doing. Is very inspiring to watch.
Yeah, and I thought it was cool to see that. I mean, I feel like I've seen several artists at CIA that they come and talk to us and they tell us about how they merged their interests with their art. So I've seen it before. But I think for me, it was honestly the first time I've seen somebody successfully merge. Not that it hasn't been done before, besides, Aaron Blaze and stuff. But, like, seeing how many artists come together and they love animals and they just draw animals and they put the money towards a good cause. Like, I feel like I've never experienced that before, or at least never seen it up that close or, online. I'm sure it's online, but I just never saw it. Mm-hmm. So it was very cool to see that so many artists were just drawing animals they liked, tigers, lions, bears.
Yeah.
Manu. Oh, my.
Manu was saying how, like, the world is so divided, and he's like, that's why I love drawing animals, because it's one thing that ties the world together. He's like, I've talked so many people out of trophy hunting. He's like, hunting, like, overpopulated animals like deer is one thing, but he's like, you have no fucking reason to kill a lion.
Yeah, I mean, they're an apex predator. They don't view anybody as, a predator.
They're
to
endangered.
Them.
You should not be allowed to hunt any endangered animal, first of all. And second of all,
only
you're not
the
going to
deer
use the
that
animal.
live in my neighborhood.
The ones that tried to kill Mariah. That's a good side tangent, Mariah. Why don't you tell us about that?
Do you want me to?
No, why don't we start talking about the movie?
Basically, the deer just attacked me. They didn't really attack me.
The deer straight up had the intent.
They approached me while I was on Kinsey, and they looked like they were going to kill me. I ran to the house because
it's
Caitlin
a series. They stay stalking
Caitlin
Mariah.
tells me regularly how deer are dangerous because they do stalk me. I opened my front door, and there was a male deer, I swear to God, looking me into the soul like he was a human being, staring at me like if I would have stepped foot out of that front door, I think he would have killed me. I'm not kidding.
You know what? And we are just animals ourselves, so I feel I can believe you if that's how you felt being in front of.
I was on the phone with Kinsey, and she was like, Mariah, I can't even hear what you're saying, because I was like,
Dude,
she was hard for her to go on her morning walks with these deer stalking
I was like, Kinsey, the deer. You're like, Mariah, I don't even know what you're saying.
And wildlife's so beautiful.
Yeah, one day I'll tell him more. If I'm sure it'll happen again, because they are trying to kill me right now.
Yeah.
We'll give more information.
It'll be a regular thing we'll check in on. Yeah. So I guess we'll begin with what you guys think of the movie. I do want to talk about, like,
I wrote some stuff down. This is the first time we did it separately, so I did write down notes. I just want to let you know. Since you watched it separate, I'm sure that
there's things you like that are similar to the way I like it. I want to hear your opinions, but later I definitely want to bring up some of the artists that worked on it and, like, their process, because it's really cool. But overall, generally...
Do me a favor and just wipe under your eye.
Is it like
black eye? Other side.
Overall, well, first of all, I do want to mention this tiny thing. When Ricky pulled up the movie, he was like, so is it The Rescuers or The Rescuers Down Under? I was like, it's Down Under, that's what it says. He's like, that's not the good one. And I was like, what? I was like, I'd never seen either of them, so I didn't know. And he's like, this one's still good. He's like, but it's not, he's like, it's not as good as the other one. And I was like, well, this is what we have to watch. And he's like, are you sure? I was like, put it on, bitch. This is what we have to watch. So we put it on.
He got so disappointed because he was like, Madame Medusa is an amazing villain, great facial expressions.
Is that the bitch with the purple eyelashes?
Yeah, the one where she pulls her eyelashes off.
She's got like the really
two crocodile pets.
Like, is she on my tarot cards?
I think so. Yeah.
You know what's crazy?
Very classic.
I don't think I've seen The Rescuers.
No, I didn't think I did either. But after telling me the character, I've seen at least parts of the movie.
I didn't care. I was like, they don't. There's gonna be people that hate me for seeing this. I'm like, they don't need to see the first one to watch the second one.
No, it's fine.
The story's completely different.
I don't think that's what he was saying. He wasn't saying that it was required. He said he liked the other one more.
No, that's fine. I'm just saying somebody's gonna get mad at me because they're like, you didn't make her watch the first one.
The only thing you missed
is Bianca and what's Bernard's relationship. That's it. That's the only part of the story that carried through from the last movie. And they're little
when the movie started, I was like, we're just gonna kill a kid off right away. Because he almost died. I was like, interesting take.
Yeah, starting off the movie, like, first of all, I didn't really like the transition about, like, just straight off, he just walked out of his house.
Yeah,
I was like, bye, Mom. I was like, is he going to school?
Because he doesn't like movies like that don't give her content.
Where's he going? Well, so when I saw him just walking around,
they feed into that context. He hears the warning.
But we talked about it during what was the first movie we did? You literally said during Silent Hill, you were like, I don't like movies that don't give me an explanation off the bat. You literally said that.
Yeah, I mean,
that's a you problem.
Shut the fuck up.
You asked her
First of all, you're asking my opinion, and here's the thing: I obviously got my answer a few minutes in, but I'm saying I feel very jarred. Like, it's very jarring when I just sit down to turn on a movie. It turns on. You see all the credits at the beginning. We're walking over these 3D modeled flowers, right?
Side note, I thought that was the coolest scene when I was a kid. When I watched it as an adult, I was like, this is so bad.
Yeah, I think you had to be a kid to be there. But anyways, right after the credits, we get to this house. I'm like, nice environment. This is where our setting is started. Kid runs out of the house, bye, Mom, and starts going in the woods. And I'm like, she didn't even say, like, have fun at school. She could have just said, have fun exploring. She could have just said that, and I'd been like, okay. This, like, it could still be, quote-unquote, jarring. But, like, she didn't say anything. And to me, I was like, this is a child. He just left the house. Where is he going? Maybe it's my Virgo moon. I was like, the logic ain't logicking.
All right.
But overall, I was like, this is definitely a movie I would have liked when I was a kid. But it's old Disney where all the characters look the same. And
you can tell when it was animated. Like, the style looked very much like, almost like, it was like an advanced Sword of the Stone Man.
He looked like Tarzan.
Looked just like...
I'd say definitely around that era.
Yeah,
if you took Tarzan's face
the mice look just like the American Tail mice.
I told Colin, I said, that looks like Tarzan-style eyes when he was falling. I was like, that's Tarzan's face.
His body and his face is Kid Tarzan. Yes. Except Kid Tarzan has slightly wider...
Why were his hands so big? Why were his hands big? Why were his hands literally gigantic?
Whoever the Tarzan animators were, they were working on that.
They weren't even just like long. Like they were man's hands on like every time he would pick up something. I was like, why are his hands like that?
Yeah.
Okay, so
but overall, I was like old Disney movie.
I did look it up. American Tail was done before it because those mice, like when they were at the mice meeting, I was like, that is the mice, the boss from the American Tail.
Yeah.
The intensity at which this man kidnapped this child, I'm not gonna lie, alarmed me. I was like, he picked up this kid, threw him in the car.
Here's the context.
Very dark for Disney, but Disney was going through a dark phase that year.
Listen, if you think about this realistically, if you tossed a little 5-year-old in the back of a car in Australia in that heat and just drove for 30 minutes, do you know how much sunburn he'd have? I'm saying, like, I was like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
I was like,
it was intense, but like, first of all, put the feather in your backpack. That man would have let you go home, okay? First of all, he got a little, or second of all, he got very hero complex. He's like, you're a poacher. Like he didn't have to do that.
He did. Yeah. He's like, you're a bad guy, and I'm gonna tell on you.
And he could have said, I just picked it up. Like, I don't even know what it was. I'm 5.
Yeah, he could have lied. There's a million ways to get out of that kidnapping situation. Like, he was a little dumb. Not gonna lie.
He did lie with it. He said that he didn't know where he got the feather from.
Yeah, but when he said
he said it was a gift.
Confidence.
He said it was a gift. He's like, where'd you get it? Like,
and he was all like, it was a gift. Like he was like straight up.
That was just the truth.
And it
is a gift from the bird.
Yeah, but I'm saying, the confidence in which he said what he said showed that he was afraid of what the poacher wanted from him, right?
Yes.
He should have just said, bitch, it's a feather. I'm 5. Mm-hmm. Get out of my face.
Then, listen, Colin started laughing at this part of the movie because the mouse that he saved straight up went and they started, like, what's it called?
They started,
Morse coding.
I'm sorry, I didn't like that scene. When I saw the mice talking to each other from across the world in every country, I was like...
I thought it was funny. Colin did too. Really? He was like, we have a national embassy of mice here. He thought it was funny.
I thought it was cringy.
Well, see,
I was like, I don't like
when that message came up on the screen, and he was just like, oh, what is this message? And then the mice were like, that was a signal for us. And they were like...
Okay, that one scene was funny.
But
that's the only thing I liked. But the actual concept of these mice being around the world working together, like...
But you didn't watch the first movie, which I was going to say, if you had watched the first movie, like, that embassy already existed.
Embassy.
Oh, embassy. Shit.
And no, I'm just saying. I'm not saying I care about if it existed or not. I'm saying the idea of it existing sounded stupid to me. I'm so sorry. That sounds really mean.
Think out of the box.
I think
I'm saying I don't like this out of the box idea. I don't think it's that cool.
They said
But what other animal would do something goofy like that? Only mice can get away with it. Mice be hiding amongst you.
Bro, hours went by where this kid needed help, and they
yes.
barely got there in time. That is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And you know what? I think I was thinking way too Virgo moon. I was thinking too realistic.
They're like, they give
I wasn't
too many shits about this one kid.
Like, I wasn't just enjoying the idea or the fantasy of it. I was thinking it realistically. I was like, you're taking hours. You're mice. What are you going to do? You're mice.
Feel that way too.
Why didn't you choose some mice in Australia to help you?
Well, because Miss Bianca and Bernard are the best of the best.
What? Yes, do they not have any proficient ones?
No, Kinsey, hear me out.
Like, what?
They introduce in the movie, for you not seeing the old one, a very realistic animal world. You know what I mean? Like, first of all, the eagle that they introduced, hella realistic. The kangaroo proportional, like, yeah, okay, I can buy it that he can talk to animals, but then out of nowhere, they deliver you this whole, like, you know, nation of mice, you know? I think that's why it was so jarring to you.
But I also just think the concept in general, it first of all, why didn't they just, I don't know if it's called paging, why didn't they just page the exact place they needed to talk to?
Because this is the 1990s, and that doesn't exist.
it like they can't get that far.
It's the 1990s. Everything worked in that systematic system.
Because I was trying to look at the map they took of Morse coding one another, and I was like, did they just go around the world for fun, or was there like a quickest way to wherever?
Oh, because they didn't know they were going to New York. They were just like, they need help, and then they were like, okay. They were like, they need help. We can't help. Send it to the next people. We can't help.
But I'm saying on the map, it seemed like it was like, it didn't seem like
because it wasn't like point A where like let's tell everyone.
No,
point A was like let's tell point B, and point B was like we can't help. Let's tell group C.
It went from
group C was like we can't help. Let's tell group D.
But I'm saying
it went from Australia to New Zealand, New Zealand to Hawaii, Hawaii to the Americas. That's in order on the map.
But didn't they hit a bunch of states and shit?
Yeah, but it was all going up to New York.
She's saying why couldn't have just gone straight to New York, and that's why because I don't think
I can get mad.
The people. No. She's saying why did they hit Hawaii? Well, why did they just contact New York?
Well, half of it too. And that's what I'm saying is the technology at the time.
Yeah, technology was garbage in the 90s.
Okay, I'll give you that.
But also, they didn't know they didn't have an end goal. It wasn't like I said, I'm going to page Kinsey, and I'm going to page all these people to Kinsey. It was like, I'm going to page Kinsey, and then you were like, I can't help you, page Kaylin.
But
so then you page Kaylin. Kaylin's like, I can't help, I'll page Colin.
Wouldn't you think that if it's an embassy, that they would just ask the people they could get the help from?
That's what they thought they were doing.
Whatever. The point is, I didn't like the Morse coding. I thought it was weird. I was completely taken out of the movie. I was like, eh. I was like, these are mice.
I can see that.
They're hours away. Why did they not contact somebody in Australia? Why are there no mice in Australia that can help them?
Because they're all getting poached, bro.
Why does it have to be some New York City mice, huh?
Or Hungary.
Like Mariah said, she's like, oh, they were the two best ones.
Hungarian mice.
Do we have some that are second best?
Yeah, like on a serious note, it was not that serious of a thing. Like obviously, Kika kidnapped serious.
Do you know how many kids get kidnapped
there's
worldwide?
not more serious issues where they're like, we need the best of the best.
That is what I'm saying. And how many kids are getting kidnapped worldwide? I'm sure a lot.
As a kid watching it,
like a
kid watching it, you're intense. You're like, save that kid because that's like you're invested at that point.
I think I needed to be a kid to watch it.
I was not invested in the movie at all.
Nope.
Like I know not every film follows to a T, but like you know in school you learn this is how introduction, rising action, climax, falling action. I was sitting here at the 30-minute mark and I was like, where's the climax?
It was coming.
When I'm 30 minutes into the movie, I'm halfway through the movie, and I have not
the climax does not come at the middle of the movie.
On average, it comes about 3/4 into the movie. I was 3/4 in the movie, and I still wasn't at that climax part.
How long was it?
Halfway's not 3/4.
I know, but I'm telling you, even after I got to the 3/4 part, I wasn't pulled in correctly.
Yeah, I would say this movie had a very tough time. It was about an hour and 15
minutes. I was not pulled in until like the last 30 minutes. No, like the last 20 minutes.
You know what it was? It's the fact that it's called The Rescuers Down Under. They wrote a really cool story happening in Australia, in my opinion, about the poacher and this eagle thing. But then it's like, all the mice did was they followed this Australian mice. Mm-hmm. They weren't even doing that good of a job. Like, when they got there, if they didn't have that Australians' mouse help, they barely got there in time, like you said. And then
I was 30 minutes in the movie, and they weren't even in Australia yet. I was pissed. I was like, the mice are still, like, we're still not even at the proper...
New York.
We're not even at the proper part of the story as we should be in 30 minutes.
I liked it a lot, the story a lot better when I was a kid. I was a lot more entertained by it. There were still parts I found charming about the mice parts, too. But even watching it, I think I appreciated the art more than the story. Additionally, I wanted to ask the seagull, or no, the albatross. What do you guys think?
That was literally the same guy from The Little Mermaid.
Yeah,
that's the same fucking bird, just in a different font. Like, it's the same kind of personality. I was like, I mean, he was a little entertaining. You know, out of the whole movie, there wasn't a lot of humor, so I was like, I'll take what I'll get.
I felt like I saw him before, and that's it. That's where I saw him before.
Mm-hmm. Hell yeah, I did it.
He's not in the last movie.
He was kind of, with The Little Mermaid
I really liked how he basically pretended he was an airplane, and he was like, all right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for renting Albatross Airlines or some shit like that when they're getting off. And they're all fucked up, which I thought that was.
And at first he's like, "All right, guys, how about next June?" And they're like, "No, we need to go right now." And he's like, "What the fuck? Excuse me." And then they're like, "There's a boy kidnapped," and everybody in this movie gives too many shits about one kid in trouble. Like, in real life, there's tons of kids in trouble all over the world, sadly. But in this movie, it just sounds like this is like one of them. It was like perfect
timing. The mouse just happened to see it happen. I watched the first 3 minutes on the treadmill, and I was like,
the Australian mouse could have just saved him.
No, he didn't, because here's the thing. I think the point that the movie was trying to make, they did it badly, but this is the point, is him and Bianca couldn't help. They were in the cage. And that it was Bernard that technically saved the boy.
No, but I'm saying that the mice did not even need to come there. The New York
she's saying,
mice.
Where were the mice in Australia?
The Australian mouse that we saw with the weird long tail had the ability to save the child himself. But that wasn't his job.
He was an airport.
Yeah, he only did it because Bianca was hot. That was the only reason he did it.
Yeah. But the thing is, he had the abilities too. He should have been the person they asked.
But
would he have said no?
But remember when he was in the cage and he's like, "There's not much we can do. Can't help him."
Yeah.
Like he basically gave up.
He didn't have the risk factor
But
that
you know
Bianca
why?
and Bernard
Because he was
had.
already in the cage. Let's say Bianca and what was the fucking name wasn't there. Let's say they weren't there, so that didn't get him in the situation where he was in the cage. Do you think he would have gotten caught in the cage trying to do it himself? Probably not.
He would have had a different plan than what Bianca and Bernard had to begin with.
I think he would have been self-sufficient enough to do it.
Well, I guess we'll never know.
Also, I want to make a side comment. We're watching the movie, and I looked over at Ricky, and I said, Kaylin's probably attracted to that Australian mouse. He's like, yeah, I believe it.
Oh my god. Maybe
I'm
when I was a
dead.
child, but when I watched it again, I thought it was really cringy that, like, his personality was just, like, being horny for Bianca. Like, when he was like, "Oh, you're not married." Like, and he's, like, trying to propose the whole movie.
Yeah, I mean, did he know that the other guy was
No.
trying to propose?
He
I
didn't
think
know
he
that
knew. I think he knew that they were together.
I don't think so. I think he was just macking
I think
on
that
him.
he like maybe thought that like Bernard had feelings for her, but
Yes.
didn't know how severe their relationship was.
That's what
he didn't
I'm
know.
saying.
He's like, "I'm gonna shoot my shot."
He didn't
Yeah.
know the relationship, and
he
you know
knew
what?
he was
into
doing
her.
like he was purposely like impressing Bianca and pushing Bernard aside, but he didn't know that they were about
I
to
still
be
think he's a
engaged.
very
You know,
likable
Bianca
character,
liked
though.
him.
Yes.
So
exactly.
the man, I think the man was fair game. He was doing his
I
thing.
thought he was the most Australian character out of the whole movie. The little
Yeah.
boy, not Australian enough. The poacher, not Australian enough. That he was
Yeah,
acting too American.
He had a good accent.
Mhm.
I liked his accent.
But yeah, so I watched the first 3 minutes, and Cheyenne asked me what I thought of the movie so far, and I was like, it's okay so far, because at the 30-minute mark, like I said, they weren't even in Australia. All I got was like this whole extended story of like the kid getting it and the mice, and I was like, how am I like already halfway through the film and like nothing wild's happened? So that's why I was getting stressed when I was
See, when
watching.
I was a kid,
like, is this going
I was on the
to
edge of
pick
my
up?
seat.
That's what I'm saying. Like most movies give you that feeling, and I did not get the edge of the seat feeling until
Like, you know
the
how-
very end when I was like, how are they gonna get the key?
You know how a movie will like show you a problem, and you are interested enough to see how they will
Yeah,
figure it out.
I didn't.
I
get
wasn't
that.
really feeling that.
See, when I was a kid, it was different because, like, that scene where all of the... I really like the design of all the animals. They were very proportionate. I still like it as an adult. Where they're all traps and, you know, chained up and stuff in the
I liked
fortress
that scene.
dungeon. I was on the edge of my seat when I was a kid of them trying to get that fucking key. Like, it literally made me sweat.
I think
even
it's hard as
rewatching.
an adult watching films like this because the way things are animated, like, you're kind of aware of what's going to happen. Like, I knew the fucking lizard was going to stick its head out of the hole because the hole was animated differently than the rest of the thing. I knew
Yeah.
that they were going to grab this plank because it was animated differently than the rest of the background.
God, yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I mean, that's just how it was back then, but I was like, as an adult watching it, I was like,
I
obviously
will
this is
say
gonna
I was
happen.
rooting for the kid every time he tried to come up with
Yeah,
solutions. I was
yeah.
like, if I was 5, I would have gave up and died.
Exactly.
Good for you. That you were still thinking how to get out.
So,
You know?
Poacher and Joanna, what do you guys think? The villain.
The poacher's nasty.
Yeah, he was drawn. There was a scene in
But, like, it's a very believable poacher. Like, that it gives me that nasty
the
vibes.
energy. All he wanted was money. The part where he was like, if we destroy the rest of the eggs, this bird would get even rarer. I was like, I feel like you're not like really understanding how this works. I was like,
Yeah,
those eggs
if
could
he's
be
already
useful for
rare,
you.
you could sell that bitch
Yeah.
and the eggs.
Keep those eggs warm, the hatchlings.
I was like, you'll get even more money because
You know what he
somebody will
could
buy
do,
it and
which is like
want
very
more.
inhumane. But if he like raised the tiny eggs
then found
and
more.
made them breed,
Yeah,
like the siblings
But
breed.
it does
he
take away
could
from
have-
rareness now.
Yeah,
that there's
his
more.
point was, like,
No, but
my
what I'm
one...
saying is if he hid them.
Yeah,
Hear me
that's
out.
what I was thinking too. In the
If-
movie, I was
if
like, if
they're
he
never
hit them and said like, I
available-
magically found more of these rare birds.
Yeah, like I have a way of trapping them and you know scouting for them. Like I'm not.
But he
gonna
would
tell
never
my
tell
secrets.
anyone, yeah.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Joanna, though.
Hold on. I wrote down the poacher had this line. I don't remember what part of the movie it was, but he said something along the lines of he was like, "Who outsmarted who? Who's smarter than who?" And I was like, the way he said it, I don't know if you know what I'm talking about.
You have to replay it for
He
me.
literally was like, "Who outsmarted who now? Who's smarter than who?" And I was like, that's me when I like finally figure something out in design. I'm like sitting here yelling at myself. I'm like, yeah, Toby. Who's smarter than who? Who outsmarted who? Who's the smartest one in the room now? I figured it out.
When really it's like he probably feels horrible about himself. He feels really dumb, and he's like, "Yeah, who's smarter than who now,
That's funny.
bitch?"
That's literally how I felt in the moment. I was like, that's me.
The part that I felt like related to the most was Ripley being the lizard.
I
did
wrote that
not
the lizard
like
was a
the
little dumber
lizard.
than Ripley, but there were a lot of times where it gave me vibes. I was like, that was something. Ripley.
Like the egg scene, I was like, that's some Ripley shit.
I
Like, where you
felt
tell her to go away and she's still begging for food and still stealing from you.
I felt like the lizard was such a interesting.
They were trying to be a
take on
comedy
it.
relief, and it wasn't as good, but I see what they
Well,
were doing.
Like I know they wanted to give him like some sort of sidekick that worked with him. I'm just saying like the choice of animal felt very weird to me. I was like,
It's
I'm
like,
sorry.
what was it? Like a salamander?
It was a Komodo dragon, my guess. And, girl, guess it had
It looks like a Komodo dragon, just a really stylized
Mhm.
one. And like I bet they chose to make whatever colors they wanted because it's a fake
It's a
one.
she, too.
You know what I'm saying? I know it's a lady. I'm just saying that just because they
I
got
liked the
inspired
little lizard
by a
in the
Komodo.
jail.
I understand. What's that?
I liked the little lizard when they were all locked up.
He was
There was a moment where he annoyed me, but I was like, that would probably be me. And then he got annoying at the end when he was yelling. They were like, shut up.
Yeah, that's the part that annoyed me. He could be goofy all he wants, but he would just sit there and shout.
That character had so much potential to be really funny and like a cool character for the rest of the film.
That's the only scene he's in. Holy shit.
If he wasn't as annoying and they kept him throughout the rest of the film, I would have supported him.
But the whole time I was like, yeah, this lizard is Ripley, dog. Like, the man was so mean to her sometimes. And
it was her awkward ass face.
She still came back. That's Ripley. We'd be yelling at Ripley, and she still waddles back up to us.
You made the point of it being an interesting choice. I thought the same thing. I'm like, why don't you just make some boots out of her, like her leather skin? But then I thought about it towards the end with the eggs, and he probably has her kill off a lot of animals to make his shit rarer. You know what I mean? Like, that's probably why he chose that one.
And he can't be alone. No one, even a psychopath.
I don't know. I mean, if you think about a Komodo dragon, like, they're already really aggressive, scary animals. Like, you would not want to have one. So I think it's more like he's like, I respect this animal a little bit more than the other ones.
But also, she's like on thin ice because he's like gonna kill her any second she messes up.
So that's what I'm saying. I think he only keeps her around because she's considered a dangerous animal, but she's also dumb enough for him to control. Yeah. He can't control that big ass bird, right? Mm-hmm. Now onto the bird.
I was about to say.
The bird was such a beautiful color. When I saw how big it was, Ken and I have had conversations about this before. Something about fantastical animals that are huge, like dragons and griffins and all these big bitches. There's just something that, like, itches my little monkey brain about it. It just makes me so happy. I want a giant animal like that so bad. So when I saw this bird, which hawks are really pretty, but they're, like, tiny. It's a big one. I was like, whoa, this thing is so pretty. It's like...
The eagle scenes made me just as happy as an adult as it did when I watched as a kid.
Oh, Ricky said...
If anything, a little bit more.
When we were watching the first couple scenes where he's flying on the bird, when he first meets him, Ricky was like, well, at least it's made well. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, usually, like, off-brand movies like this, they're not like animated as well.
Off-brand.
Like, we watched Aladdin 2, and the animation was so bad. And he's like, this animation is crisp.
Well,
and I was laughing.
Supervising animator is Glenn Keane. That's why. For the eagle.
Yeah. The eagle, I was watching intently. I was like, let me see some mistakes. No mistakes. No mistakes in the movement whatsoever.
So he was loaned a stuffed American eagle and an eagle skeleton from the Los Angeles Museum of Natural History. They enlarged the bird, shrank its head, elongated its neck and wings, puffed out its chest, and they slowed down the wing movements because, like, real eagles, like, flapping really fast, and he wanted to make it, like, one...
That man's soared.
He's like, we can't animate all that.
She was soaring.
And she's only in the whole movie for 7 minutes because it was that expensive to animate. But she's beautiful. I completely agree with you.
I was hoping the eggs were going to hatch at the end of the film.
Yeah, I did not like where they cut the movie.
Well, come on. Have you ever seen birds out of eggs?
We're talking about... They look like we'll talk about the ending.
Yeah, okay.
If you're talking about, we'll talk about the ending.
They look like
I enjoyed
like pink.
Now that I'm an adult and I'm a big fan of all of these wildlife artists like Aaron Blaise and, Manu Kraskow, I had such an appreciation watching all these little mannerisms. Like, it had film eye blinks, like a little piece of film go over its eye. I was like, that is a level of detail that, like, you don't see a lot in cartoons. You see, the funny albatross, like, seagull characters and Little Mermaid, but you don't see a lot of, like, that, like, majestic-ass shit.
Although it's majestic, in my artistic critique opinion, I don't think there was a need for it, considering it was not thought of in other instances in the film. Like, I'm talking about the film, like the film.
It contrasts.
Like she's saying, like, the small
I'm like, there was no reason to put that because I feel like there's no small details in anything else like that.
I feel like any hardcore Rescuers Down Under fan listening, and it's okay if you like the movie. Like, we're never gonna. I appreciate your opinion, Kenzie, and this is my opinion about it. It almost feels like the Rescuers part just needs to be taken out and put into a separate movie. Like, that needs to be made into a cartoon, and whatever this was trying to be, it could have been a really cool movie. Like, almost like Tarzan, those are proportional gorillas. It has a rules to the world, like, in where everything lives. The elephants, I'd say, still match the gorilla, and, like, nothing felt too out of place in Tarzan. But, like, when you put the mice in the albatross... like, where
they were so muted compared to the design.
Yeah, because I love my little eagle scene. I love it, but I agree with you. It stands out too.
If you want to keep it as nostalgia, I get it. Like, if I was a kid seeing how amazingly animated that bird was with the Weird Eye film and everything, I'd be like, wow. But, like, looking at just the Mice and the Albatross, and they're two completely different movies. Like, that could have been a more educational, like, thing about poachers with the kid and the realistic, because there's, like, realistic human proportions with some, you know, funky little things here and there. Realistic ass bird. And it's like this mice and albatross shit.
Sadly,
just didn't.
Though, I don't think the movie would have like taken off, because the original Rescuers, which was made long before this one, is such a classic, and you get the name Rescuers, which is probably what had the budget to have Glenn Keane on the team to animate it, and got it even taking off. Like, it's hard to come up with new stories in Disney. They take a lot of old stuff. Like, right now we're going through the live action remakes because, like,
so bad.
Running out of ideas. They are coming out with new movies, but they're just not as profitable as the stories that they keep ripping off over and over and over again. So, like, that's probably the only reason that they did it in that style of The Rescuers Down Under. But it felt like two movies in one. But again, that's my opinion.
Actually, the live-action Beauty and the Beast is one of the top-selling Disney films.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, the profits,
it sells.
The profits are selling for it. That doesn't mean it's good.
If you still like this movie, though, like, if you disagree with us and you like the story, like, that's still, I respect your opinion. This isn't one that's wildly that controversial where I'm like, oh, yeah, the story was trash and, you know, I don't respect your opinion. No, you can still like the movie.
But yeah, the bird is gorgeous. I thought it was interesting how they gave him, like, golden blonde hair like the boy. And then he's hanging out with this golden blonde. He looked like a little
Steve Irwin.
Like, I liked the symbolism of that. Like, you know, maybe she thought he's one of her little babies just because he had gold hair. And that's why she was nice to him. I don't know.
The part where he saves her and she sees the knife and she starts freaking out. I was like, when I was a kid, I was like,
where only some of the animals talked, and I didn't like that.
Yeah, I didn't like that either. I think the world rules. What's going on?
Exactly. Shouldn't, like in Tarzan, there was world rules, and all the animals followed it. In this one, it's like, we have a talking albatross, and then this golden eagle's just this, like, you know.
That's such a definition of an, like, animator problem, though, because it's like, you could be, you know, hired onto something, and you have no control over the story. You're Glenn Keane being told to animate this bird, right?
And so you show up and you did your homework.
I'm showing up, I did my homework, I got paid, I'm leaving. But I'm sure Glenn Keane was probably like,
yeah, a lot of artists feel that way, especially on these big productions. Like, even Aaron Blaise, when I was at Lightbox, I heard him answering someone about Brother Bear, and he's like, yeah, the story did get pulled in every other direction. There's a lot about the movie that got cut out that I would prefer to stay in Brother Bear. But he's like, Brother Bear wouldn't have been amazing if I was the only one working on it. It was the fact that so many people worked on it that made it better. But he's like, of course things get pulled around because everybody has different wants and needs. But this was one of those cases where it wasn't filtered enough. It was... I definitely don't want to say the word rushed, but the story was rushed. The movie was still well made. Yeah. It's weird. I definitely have some childhood favorites that now when I watch it, I'm like, this, you know, Last Unicorn. The story could be a little better, but I still love that shit. Literally pop that shit on. I don't care how fucking silly that story is. It makes me happy to watch it. Mm-hmm. The
what
style.
Movie? I completely zoned out.
The Last Unicorn.
Oh.
Which I might introduce another time.
I just mean, like, there's other movies like this one where I, like, just love it for what it is, and you know what? Maybe it's not a revolutionary story. I don't care.
The ending, you said that you wanted to comment on.
Yeah, so the climax hit about 45 minutes into the movie. Mm-hmm. And it was...
Oh, right before that, I just wanted to say the climax, too.
What would you consider the climax of the movie?
I would say the part with the alligators and stuff. Like, the fact that he was going to feed them to crocodiles.
So 45 minutes into the movie.
No. Well, Mariah, no, I thought you meant, like, which scene. I'm like, I just wanted to talk about.
I think you got something wrong, Mariah. The climax is not supposed to last that long.
I know, so what was the climax of the film in your opinion?
I would say the crocodile pit.
The part where he almost fed him?
Yes.
Yeah, and that was 45 minutes into the movie.
No, that makes sense that it's not going to happen early on in the morning.
I'm not saying it had to be, like, early.
But the intensity of the climax probably should have been something more.
Yeah, it just felt like, hold on. Like, I'm not saying that the climax has to be a big thing. I'm not saying it has to be early in the movie. But, like, I just felt like that was the only part that, like, pulled me in immediately.
I think, like, what you're talking about is there was nothing in the movie that pulled you in. I'm trying to think of another movie
that I can think of off the bat that...
Like, I think you're talking about when did the movie make you interested and pull you in? Not the climax. Like, when were you pulled in? And this movie didn't really do that well.
This is about a story arc.
I know. Give me a second to think of... Never mind. I'll think about it later. I can't think about it right now. But the part at the end of the movie was it felt very rushed, like you said. Mm-hmm. Like, I understood the prefix of, like, Grandma was dying.
Yeah.
But then it just, like, it just ended. I was like, does the kid make it home?
Yes,
does
I
the mother know their child is alive? Is the eagle okay?
Baby eagles.
Are they gonna get married? Like, there's so many things that I want to know the answer to, and they literally were just like, And movie.
And usually at the end of a Disney movie, like, you'd see, like, a montage. Like, they got married, he got home,
You
the
got
babies were
nothing.
born. Maybe it's, like, 2 months of the babies being alive, so we don't see the
Yeah,
children
that was
the ones.
Even
And
I
we see
said
them
it,
with
Colin.
some
I was like, I
feathers.
did not like the way that they
Was
cut
there
it off.
credits? I
Maybe they
didn't
didn't
watch
have
it.
enough money.
They did.
Maybe they were broke.
Yeah, after Glenn Keane, they said we were broke.
But I was just mad because I was like, that's it? You're going to rush that to me? You're going to give me this finally, like, you pulled me in. I'm hooked. I'm watching this film. And then you're like, maybe not that extreme.
No, you're like, I sat here bored watching these mice
and
take
you
up all
finally
of your
got
budget.
a little bit of my heartbeat up, and that's it.
I was going to say with
I
the
got, like, a little
crocodile thing
tease.
before you started talking about climax stuff was just that was so severe that the way he did it, you could have just thrown the kid in the water. Like, the way you were just dangling him.
Yeah.
Like, I was, as a kid,
And
really
then Mance
on
pulled
the
out
edge
the
of my
gun.
seat.
He was like, that's fine. I'll take care of it myself. I was like, you could have been done that.
Well, I think he wanted it covered up in case the Rangers found
No, but like
shit.
you said, he could have threw him in. Like, you could have already had him
Mm-hmm.
in the swamp.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I
Yeah.
knew he wasn't gonna die. It wasn't really so smart. I knew he was gonna die. It's Disney. Even the poacher guy, they
They
didn't
got Disney
show
fine.
him
That's
die.
why they put him on the rope.
They didn't show the poacher die because Disney would never do that. But I also wanted low-key like a solution to that. I was like, did he really die? Did he make
Remember
it
when the
wonderful?
man got hung in
Yes,
the
I was
tar
just
sand?
thinking
Like,
that.
goddamn.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They showed us the shadow and everything. And
Yeah.
the feet dangling.
Yeah.
So brothers, would you share the Rescuers Down Under with anyone ever again?
No.
No. I thought about it. I was like, kids can ask this question like we do, and I was like, maybe I'll show it to like a niece or nephew. And I was like, no, because like even like Disney stuff or like animated stuff now is so much more in depth that I was like, I don't even think that me showing this would do any good. Like it would be a step down with the way animation is now.
I would show the scene of the bird and that's it. Like I'd pull up YouTube,
You'd be like,
say,
look at this cool
check out
bird.
this awesome ass bird. No story context, just look how cool it is. Bam, done. That's it.
I just think like kids shows and movies now are so in depth that like it would be like a little step down. And they'd be
Like there's such good storytelling, you know, good character development, like the way they
I
change.
would consider showing it to Caden only because he likes animals.
Yeah, maybe an avid animal watcher, because the whole time, Kaylin, every time we saw animals, I was like, I know Kaylin likes this, and she likes that, and she likes this. And she very much appreciates when animals are animated proportionally. So if somebody else was that crazy about it, I'd be like, hey, I got something for you that you would like.
Yeah.
I wanted to enjoy it, though. I was like, I want to enjoy this film for Kaylin. She talked about how much she liked it, and I was just like...
Yeah. And even watching myself, I see all of the things that you see watching as an adult. Showing it to a very young child, though, very enjoyable. So, like, I could see myself showing it to a young child, but probably never again with my friends, like, clearly. Even Colin, like, had a few nitpicks here and there. It's just, like, that's how it is. You'll always look at it with a different eye as an adult. Same thing with Goofy movie last week. Like, you look at it just a different gaze.
We were looking at the way they communicated with one another. We're like, excuse me. But, like, you showed me Fern Gully, and, what was the other one you showed me that was very similar?
I did show you another one.
You showed me another one. We watched Quest for Camelot, you know, and there's things I liked about each one of those movies a lot.
I would watch that again.
But, like, the majorities of the movies, did I like it? No. But, like, I would watch Quest for Camelot simply for the blind man. I'd watch Fern Gully for this fucking straight up fairy tension porn I saw in that.
Well, thank y'all for stopping by and listening to this episode.
Yeah, so Kinsey, what are you showing us next week, girly?
Oh, shit.
Oh, damn, Kaylin, you're just trying to cut me off like that?
Damn.
Well, so I don't know how much time it's going to take, so we might watch 10 episodes, potentially 20 episodes, aka the whole first season.
Excuse me.
Shut up. The whole first season of Gravity Falls, depending on how long it takes. We could be doing a part 1 of season 1, Gravity Falls, and then another episode
what
of part
if Mariah
2.
picked up part 2? Even though I already know what you want to watch.
What if Mariah what?
Picked up part 2 so we can just do it back to back.
That'd be so fucking funny.
But I don't want to cut off what she has in mind.
Because what I have is something I've been wanting Kaden to watch for 2 years.
Oh. Yeah, I don't know how long it's going to take, so you guys will find out next week how much we'll be covering. But it'll most likely minimum be 10 episodes.
Yeah.
Can I say bye now?
Yeah. Bye.
Bye,
See you guys next week.
It's not going to be this nice this time. Just bye.
Bye.
Anyway.